The section that we're going to be doing now is social and emotional. So as we talked about the PowerPoint, what is social and emotional? Emotions and expressing ourselves, right? And then the social interactions that we have. So one of the activities in there is a song called Punchinello. So what it is just an action song. So it's getting the children to watch their friends or yourself doing an action and then repeating it and then taking turns and communicating. So we're going to attempt to sing it and we're going to attempt to do it for you. So bear with us. Okay, you ready? Okay, so here's the words, and it's in your binder as well.
You guys can sing along with us.
Yeah, you can sing too. What would you do, Punchinello, funny fellow? What would you do, Punchinello, funny you? I can do it too, Punchinello, funny fellow. I can do it too, Punchinello, funny you. So it's just doing anything. So it's from jumping. So you could start off first. So as I was saying before, some children when they come into their homes are really shy and they don't want to engage in activity. But if they sit back and they can watch everyone doing it and they might go, okay, Johnny, do you want to do it? No, I don't want to do it. But then over time, then they'll participate, they'll feel good about themselves, and then you're building their self-esteem, they're getting their moment of shine there, they're doing their activity. So again, back to if you, not just you sitting back and not engaging in activity, but you doing it as well. So you being silly too, jumping, tapping your head, you know, falling down, those kinds of things. So if the children see you doing it and participating, they're going to enjoy it too. They want to participate too. You can also, instead of using Punchinello, you can use the person's name or your name. So you can say, Fazia, what you doing? Funny fellow, what you doing? Right? And just change it up and do it, and then use the children's name. So they're identifying their name. Getting to know their name, especially if there's young children. If it's a little baby, you can help them, like, you know, touching their toes or doing something. Also use it as mentioning different parts of their bodies. They're touching their head, they're touching their knees. So using their understanding about their body parts and that kind of thing. So a very simple song, and you can use it in many ways. And there's other songs. Do any of you use songs at home to get kids engaged or get them comfortable? Head and shoulders, yep.
One little finger.
Okay. And then they do one little finger, two little finger, and then.
One little finger, one head, nose, chin.
And they do.
Yeah.
So they do actions.
Yeah, it's a nice, really nice song.
Yeah. So and then just learning, and now with the computers, you can go online, and you can YouTube it, and you can get the tune, and you can do it with the children, and you can help. They can help you do it. They might come with you with songs too, and you can always change it up. You can take a song and you can add. The children love it when you put their own name into it and change it and use it, make it more personal that way. So that's one way of just doing, showing them different ways of taking turns, listening to their friends, being aware of their other friends. You might get emotions too if someone does the same thing all the time or they copied and that kind of thing, and how you deal with it and work from there. So that's where you would guide them. You could start it off, see how they do it, and then see how the children will carry that activity and move on to something else. So that's one thing for social and emotional. The other one would be, this is a very simple one too. I'm sure in your homes, sometimes they're playing, they're really engaged in activity, and then you look around and your whole living room is a disaster, the play area is a disaster, and they're all like falling all over everything. So how do you get the children to come back and get control of the situation? So just a simple song on hands on top, that means stop, or you flick the lights, or you might clap your hands, or something that gets the children to stop what they're doing, to focus, and then you get their attention and you can say, okay, look at this room, what do we need to do? Is it, well, how can we clean it up? Or get them to focus and say, look what Susie's done over here. She's made something very lovely, and then focus on that. So it's just a signal for children just to get them to go through, and they can calm down and focus, and that's just getting them to learn about focusing, and again, to control their emotions. Also, if they're having a hard time or kids are crying and it's just out of control, it's another way too of getting them to focus, stop, hands on top, everyone stop. And then if there is someone upset, then you can calm down and get the situation under control instead of trying to deal with it when everyone's talking and doing everything at the same time. So it's very simple. Does anyone else use something that kind of gets the group under control when it gets kind of crazy? And because it's also good too when you're in transitions, because as routines and stuff, it's also good. Like, it's really hard for children if they're really busy playing and all of a sudden, okay, now it's time for lunch. So sometimes it's a good thing to just get them to stop and say, you know, hands on top, that means stop. Then that way they all can stop. If they're being very, you know, very excited about their play, they can focus, calm down, and then they can move on to the next activity, which it means, you know, could be just going outside, getting ready to go outside, getting dressed. It's, you know, just another transition time. So it's a good way of doing it. Some people will turn the lights off and say, okay, that means tidy up. Or we sing, it's time to tidy up. So the kids have a clue of what's going on. So again, it's focusing them to do something, a task at a certain time, and then moving from there on to something else. So again, with social and emotional, it's such a big one because everything, this is how I feel. So we talked about emotions and how to let them express it in a positive way, allowing them to express it, not just saying, you know, don't cry, don't be angry, but why are you angry? Why are you sad? Those kinds of things. So this activity is, we allow children to express both positive and negative emotions. By sharing these emotions, children will see the world from another point of view and may begin to identify with others. So when we look at each other's faces, we can see what each other is feeling. It's this one here, if you're looking at it. But sometimes when we're feeling sad or we're feeling angry, we can't see what we look like. So, yes, that. But mirrors, very small mirrors, or you can look in a mirror in your home and you can say, oh, I see your face. What are you feeling? And then they look at their face, and then sometimes kids love if you say, show me your sad face. Show me your happy face, your surprised face, and they will do it because they can't see it, but they love looking in a mirror and they can do that. Your angry face, right? So you can do that. And then from there, you can take it and they can draw a picture of themselves. So that's what we're saying. Always have, it's great to have just white paper. I mean, you don't even, just something, even scrap paper that you have, and just have it out there so you can draw. I always like telling my providers have different crayons and markers because these thin ones are not the greatest for toddlers or babies because they break, but the thicker ones that you can get, they're nice and thick. So as Ashley was saying, the pinchagrass, but they can also do the palm, and they can scribble, they could do a face, they can color, it might not look like a face, but then you can put the emotion, oh, that's your angry face, or that's your happy face. And then with the older kids, you can use, the smaller ones, you can use markers, and then just have pictures of how they feel. Or they can say, how's Johnny feeling today? Can you draw his face? And then they draw a face. So again, it's expressing what their emotions are and giving a name to how they're feeling. Because they don't know. They know these feelings, but they don't have a name to it. Also, this is, I made this, it's just a block, and I just took pictures, and I just put different faces. And then I put angry, happy, sad, surprised, shy, and then you can roll it, and then the children can make the face that's up there and say, oh, can you show us your angry face? Or who's feeling angry today? Or, you know, or who's feeling happy today? And then they might start out angry, but then by the end of it, hopefully everyone's feeling happy. So very simple. I mean, and if you don't have a block, you can do it with cards. And like the memory game, just have the on the floor and flip it over, and they have a happy face or a sad face. Or use magazines with different faces and do that way. And then they can show, you know, and just getting them to understand how they're feeling and how they express it and putting words to it. Also, we have a book, but we couldn't find it today, but there is this book called The Way I Feel, and it's by Janan Kane, and it has different emotions. So this is one like silly. So there's all, and then there's sad. So it shows the children the different feelings, the different faces. And there's one frustrated.
And disappointed, so you're labeling their feelings.
So yeah. So it shows you the different, like, so if you're feeling sad, this is what a sad face looks like, and how you can do that. So the biggest thing we're trying to get across with emotions is not to deny the children these feelings, that they do have these feelings and how they can express them in a positive way. Also, for a young child, they usually have a lot of board books, but funny faces. So just something like this, you can, you know, even if you don't, just ask them to point out, like, the funny faces. What do you think this one is? You know, silly, sad. So a young child can go through this. You know, I'm a clown today. Peekaboo. So it's just showing different things. And then it has different faces, and then you can go through it and explain what are these children feeling. So they're also learning how other people are feeling, and that's where empathy comes in. That learning and caring about what other people are feeling and other children are feeling. So that's good for them to see what it looks like for other people if they're feeling sad. And then there's kitty cat. So they're feeling silly. So just books like that. So when you're looking for books, there's all different ages, and you can get books like that, and then you can have them around and do that with the children. Okay, the next one is ball play. So this, you would think it could be gross motor, but with ball play too, we're going to use it for social and emotional, and we talked about balls, but it's very simple to make a ball in your home. I'm sure everyone has flyers. What to do with flyers besides the recycle bin? So you just crinkle up a couple of papers, our good old masking tape, and what you do is you wrap it, if it works, and you make a ball. So with this, it's soft enough that it's not going to break anything in your home. If it hits someone on the head, it's not going to hurt. So you have a ball, and everyone can make their own. So you have a ball, it's very light, and then for an infant, even just rolling it back and forth, Ashley. So you have two children on the floor, and they're sitting down, and you just roll it, and it would be, this is a big, but just back and forth. So you're teaching them what? Turn taking. Communication is turn taking too, right? I throw it to you, you throw it back to me, and that's turn taking. So depending on the age of the children, the more tape you have on it, of course you can make it harder. A school-age child might want to really wrap it up and make it hard. You could use it for the activities that Ashley had said with the baskets, those kinds of things. So just if you don't have a ball, or all your balls are missing, or you want something different, you can make a big ball, you can make a small ball, you can make different sizes, you can use different color of tape so that they each have their own color. Yeah. So it's very, and it's again, just having that turn taking, sharing, and communicating back and forth, and problem solving. So if I don't throw the ball to Ashley, then it's not going to come back to me. The game's over. So we have to go back and forth. And if you keep the ball and don't share it, then we can't play the game. So again, it's teaching them that cooperation, problem solving, and communicating, and playing back and forth. So again, social and emotional. Okay, and then the other activity is a talent show. So how many people here have dress-up clothes in their homes? Okay, so I tell my providers, you don't have to go out and spend money on that. If you have an old sweater, a scarf, a pair of old shoes, a purse, throw it in a bin, put it out, and let the kids be creative. So having shoes, a purse, scarves, like old, even your own children's clothes. If they have like skirts or anything that don't fit your children, you put it in a bin and have it out there, put it out, and they dress up, so they act out things, they imitate. So if they something at home, or they, you know, pretend they're going in the car, going to the bus, going shopping, or they're going to school, or going to a party, or they're dressing up for Halloween, or they're going to Hawaii on a vacation. They can even change their hair color. You know, all these things, have it in a bin in your home, put it out, and their imagination will carry them. So from that, they can decide just to dress up. But what you'll find is with the older children, they might take it farther. So they might do a play. They might decide to do a talent show. So even adding like a guitar, they can play guitar and be a band and dress up like a band. What else can they do?